Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't been here before, my name is Tracy and this is a DIY upcycling channel. And today I want to make a very boho, cool white top. Kind of a cape poncho style top. I do not know what to call this, but I am starting with just a simple white size large cotton top that I got from the thrift store. These bibs, sorry, they're not a tutorial. It was a video that got taken down when I was going through my copyright drama. But okay, let's get started on the top. The first thing I did to get started was put the top on and then took 2 straight pins and I looked in the mirror and I marked with a straight pin where I want my finished top to be in front. And then I marked with a straight pin where I want my finished back to be. I have a pin right here and a pin right here. Now I want mine just barely below the waist, but this would be really cute as a tunic length as well. So you customize the length however you want it. Now I'm going to crop it. So I am going to take it, fold it in half, and lay it sideways and line up the side seams and the bottom. Here is my pin in front and here is my pin in back. I am going to cut from this pin to that pin and crop the shirt. Okay, it's cropped. Now I want to cut the sides off because I want to add big pieces of fabric to each side to give it that big sleeve boho vibe cape. So what I'm doing is there's a seam right here. I am going to eyeball this and I want to cut a fairly straight line just inside that seam towards the shirt and cut straight down, and I'm going to do it on this side as well. Okay, so this is what we have. All right, so I went to a bed sheet and I cut out 2 rectangles, and they will be the beginning of the sleeves. Now mine are 42 inches long and 21 inches tall. And I'll tell you how I got that measurement. For the length of the rectangle, the longest part, I just took a tape measure and measured from the bottom here to the bottom over here, and I got 41 inches. I added an inch because you never know how they're going to sew on. I'd rather have it be a little bit too long that I can trim than a little bit too short. Okay, and so they're, what'd I say, 21 inches wide? Yeah, 21 inches wide. So how I got that measurement is I put the shirt on, and I knew about where I was going to cut at that seam. And so I just took a yardstick to where I thought I was going to cut the top off inside that seam. And how long do I want my sleeves? I want mine to come down past my wrist, and that's about 21 inches. Now maybe you want a 3/4 length and go only 15 inches. This length will determine how long your sleeves are. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is start decorating this before I sew the sleeves on because it's so much easier. Now, what I'm going to be doing is just sort of a background to a lot of laces and things that I'm going to do. I am going to do a patchwork of linens, like vintage linens, needlework, all white on white, nothing with like embroidered roses or anything that have color. So they'll all be white, but they'll all be textural and really pretty. And I am going to do the same to these as well. So I went to my stash of linens. Some are a little bit lacy, and just picked out some that I thought had pretty details, and I pressed them. So I have a nice stack to work with. Now I'm just going to start playing with pieces. I think that I'm going to start with the top, and then I'll do the sheets, the sleeves after that. But I laid this on there. I like how that looks. I'll trim the side here, and then I'll pin that on. Now I have a piece that looks like this. I think I'll do a long rectangle with it. I am not getting overly critical here because this is just going to be a background that adds depth and interest to the whole entire top. Now on the back, this top's kind of strange because the front is like a crisp white cotton. The back is like a jersey knit, kind of like a t-shirt cotton. Doesn't matter. It'll all work. Okay, so I have a pretty piece like this. I think I'll cover a lot of the back with that. Trim it off here. And then I have a piece that looks like this. I think I'll overlap this a little bit. Okay, now they're ready to be sewn on. And on this piece, I'll show you quickly my thought process, whether zigzag, where to sew, straight stitch. But after this, I'll just let you kind of do your own thing and not harp on it because all your pieces and materials are going to be different than mine. So something like this, I will do a straight stitch and I will just stay as close to the edge as I safely can. Now over here, it's going to be a little bit more gappy because it's lacy, and I will stay just below this little scallop piece and sew in here. And I will probably use a zigzag stitch on this one because it has more gaps. Now this one I'll probably sew right in this lacy piece using a zigzag, and down here I'll probably use a straight stitch, just staying just below that lacy piece, not sewing into the lace. See what I mean? So they all kind of have their own unique design, therefore you sew them each differently. All right, time to sew them all on. Now I'm working on the first sleeve, and I have things laid out, just real basic, just to add interest to this unattractive sheet. And now I'm going to pin them all on. Now it's time to get everything sewn on. Now I'm working on the second sleeve. I have both sides sewn, and I just stuck them at the shoulders with one pin so I can kind of envision how I want them sewn, which sleeve I want where and what direction and all of that. So here's what, I think that was the first one or second, I can't remember. And here's what the other one looks like. And now it's time to sew them on, and it's so easy. Now I have these laid out how I want them sewn. This is the actual shirt that we started with and the two sleeves. And I am going to sew mine wrong sides together so that the seam is on the outside. There will be fraying some of these edges and the seam on the outside, and that's okay. That's, for me, all part of the beautiful boho look. So I will sew them wrong sides together, I don't think I'm even going to pin this. You can if you want. So here's the bottom of the front of my shirt. The buttons, everything are here. I will just line these up, take it to my machine, 1/4 inch seam allowance, and sew it completely on. And then I'll come to this side and I'm going to start in the front as well, because if they don't line up, which they probably won't, I'd rather trim it on the back side of the shirt than the front. So I will wrong sides together, line these up, sew all the way down, 1/4 inch seam allowance. You can stop right here and just have a cape or shawl, you know, maybe hem the raw edges or add some little petite scraps of lace to all the edges. You know, I don't look at my DIY videos as these strict tutorials at all. What I like to think and what I hope is that they're more food for thought for your own creativity. All right, let's just add some more stuff to it. In my back room, I have a big laundry basket full of lace scraps, and these are all scraps from that basket. So I have a little tub that I filled with small pieces, and then this one has larger pieces. And I'll show you what I do with them. I have a piece that looks like this, kind of cut up. I think I'll cut this down the center and put the raw edge down, and I think maybe I'll start here next to this neckline, take it to my machine. I think I'll put a couple pins in it so that I remember where I wanted it, but I'll start here, probably use a zigzag stitch, and do a little pinch pleating, sort of up and over the shoulder, and then in the back I'll probably connect this one and continue sewing and pinch pleating around the back side. Here I am bringing it around the back side, just a couple pins so I don't forget where I wanted it. Okay, there's that piece I just sewed. So cute. And now I'm going to do a bunch more things like that. I won't talk through every single little thing because I need to get into my own kind of artsy brain and stand back and test and decide where I want things. But when I sew them on, I'll sew a couple and come back and show you what I did. That way you can see the progression. Here I added 2 little scraps that just kind of dangle. I sewed it underneath of there. I sewed another piece that goes up and over top. And then I just tucked one right in here. Okay, so next I added this piece. This is from a tablecloth. You know, my laces typically come from tablecloths and curtains that I find at thrift stores, or sometimes on eBay I buy lots of lace, like doilies and runners and things like that. I have some old wedding dress lace as well. So I just started at the bottom here and pleated all the way up, up, up. And then on the back, I went straight down the back. Okay, so my basket of small scraps, or a bucket, I just grabbed a handful. So I'm going to take these, they're a little more narrow, and I think I'll start about right here and just piece these together. Take one, sew it on, take another one. When that runs out, overlap it and come around the arms and probably end about right here. This is what I just did. Seriously, how cute is that? All different heights and different materials. So this is what it looks like, kind of broken down. Then I ended in the back. How stinking cute. Okay, now what I think I'll do is take another handful of those scraps. This is where I started that row. I think I'll start a row up here and sort of do the same thing on this sleeve to right underneath of this ruffle. Okay, this row is all done. So this one's a lot lower than this one, and that's what I want. Kind of comes up and then down and then ends under this ruffle. What I want to do now is trim all these raw edges. And I am taking another handful of scraps. If anything was over like an inch, I cut it down to about an inch. I don't want these to be big. I want a cute little lace detail at the edges. And I will overlap probably about half an inch. Some I'll pleat, some I won't. If I think it looks flat and boring, I'll do a little pinch pleating. Otherwise, I won't. And I'll just keep overlapping bits and pieces. And I'll do that all the way around. Okay, now I have those trim lace pieces all sewn. Okay, now what I want to do, I have this old robe belt or tie. The robe I long ago upcycled into a duster, but I had this left. So I'm going to take this, find the center, and then find where this shirt down at the bottom met the sleeve, and that's right there. And I'm going to sew the center on right there, zigzag stitch over it a few times so it's nice and durable. Then I'm going to tie a big bow. The last thing I want to do, here are the buttons in case it's hard to tell. Here are my sleeves, is I want mine to be a shirt. I want to be able to not have to wear another shirt under it. So I'm going to the bottom of the sleeves and I'm going to pin these 9 inches up. I'm going to measure 9 inches up from the bottom. I'm going to sew it wrong sides together and just right at those seams where we sewed that lace. Here's the other sleeve. So right here is where I'm sewing them together 9 inches up. And I'm using a straight stitch. Now the sewing is all done. Gorgeous. Now I'm going to go try it on. How fun is that? I love this project. It's probably up there with my favorites because it's so artsy and easy, but yet so dramatic and cute. This will be one of my go-to tops, I'm pretty sure of it. So I have it with some kind of skinny jeans that I bleached, and I have a lots of tutorials where I bleach jeans. I'll link a good one down in my description. We've got some fur boots, very boho right now. I got these on Amazon. I'll put that link in my description. I have a thrifted hat, and on top of it, I have a headband. I have a tutorial where I made 3 headbands, and I just slipped one on the hat, and it goes so great with the boots. Okay, to wash this, I would turn it inside out, wash it on a gentle cycle. Mine I can put in the dryer because everything's pretty much been washed and dried, but you can line dry. I will have some excessive fraying to trim off once I do wash it, and that's just going to enhance the boho chic look of it. So I will bring it in closer so you can see more of the details, and I thank you so much for watching.